This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Welcome to News 9. You are watching On Point. I'm Kartikeya Sharma, and you are watching the visuals which are directly coming in from Imphal. And this is the swearing-in ceremony which is
I have the honor to request
about to commence.
Governor to be kindly pleased to administer the oath of office and secrecy to the Chief Minister Deputy Chief Ministers, Ministers for the state of Manipur. Shri Yumnam Khemchand Singh, Chief Minister Designate.
I, Yumnam Khemchand Singh, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true and faith and aligned to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as the Chief Minister of the State of Manipur, and that I will do right to all manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and law without fear or favor, affection or ill will.
I,
Yumnam Khemchand Singh, do swear in the name of God that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person or persons any matter which shall be brought under the consideration or shall become known to me as a Chief Minister of the State of Manipur, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as such Chief Minister.
Chief Minister.
Shrimati Nemcha Kipgen, Deputy Chief Minister Designate.
I,
Nemcha Kipgen, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as a Deputy Chief Minister for the State of Manipur, and that I will do right to all manner of people accordance with the Constitution and the law without fear or favor, affection or ill will.
I,
Nemcha Kipgen, do swear in the name of God that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person or persons any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as a Deputy Chief Minister for the State of Manipur, except as may require for the due discharge of my duties as such minister.
thank you, Nemcha ji. Shri Losii Dikho, Deputy Chief Minister Designate. I,
Losii Dikho, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my I will do right manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and the law without fear or favor, affection or ill will. I, Sri Losii Dikho, do swear in the name of God that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person or persons any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as a Deputy Chief Minister of the State of Manipur, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duty as such minister.
Shri Konthausam Govindas Singh.
I, Konthausam Govindas Singh, do swear in the name of God that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of India as by law established, that I will uphold the sovereignty and the integrity of India, that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge my duties as a minister for the state of Manipur, and that I will do right to all the manner of people in accordance with the Constitution and the law without fear or favor, affection or ill will. I, Konthausam Govindas Singh, do swear in the name of God that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person or persons any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as a minister for the state of Manipur, except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties as such minister.
Shri Khuraizam Loken Singh, Minister Designate.
I, Khuraizam Loken Singh, ang iswagi mindo wasakari, maduri ang na ay na lumliba barat sangbidan na siya na thaz sangbidan bu siya na thazagni amasung madungang na sakini barat ki apunba asobu sakti bunga kani Manipur state ki minister amoina uning changna amasung achepa wakhal loina na ai di thaulang parthokani amasung aina amasung sangbidan ki matungina ningsang sanganai akiba thujan bat natraga fattaba wakhal yawdo mipum khudimukta achumba tawani. I, Khuraizam Loken Singh, ayang isoli mingdo wasakari madudi ayang Manipur state ki minister amoina aina hana pirakpa natraga ayang aina hangapa bisay amata minister amagi mathau pangthokpada changba natragadi kanagama misak natraga misak singda hakthengna natraga hakthengna hangaloi natraga takthokba.
With your permission, sir, the proceedings may now be closed.
Historic day in Manipur. Finally, after a year, there is a chief minister in the state. On this issue, I am joined by News9 input editor Brijesh Pandey. I will be joined by Colonel Shanti Kumar Sapam, spokesperson, Meitei Heritage Society, Dr. Tangsum Tombing, assistant professor, National Law University, Judicial Academy, Guwahati, Assam, Major General Rajan Kochar, and P.K. Mishra, former ADG BSF. Thank you all of you for joining me. I think Jai Hind. It's a very important day, very important day. Brijesh, did you expect that we would have a CM so soon? Is it born out of elections being round the corner? Was it a product of long protracted decision making? Why did things turn around so quickly in last say 72 hours?
I think it was mix of both. You know, the government is also acutely aware of the fact that, you know, that they have 37 MLAs on their side, and despite having an overwhelming, I mean, absolute majority, you know, not having a government is also not politically prudent for a very long time. It was extremely embarrassing. I think, you know, Manipur turned out to be one of the biggest blot as far as the government's Act Northeast policy. You know, this was one of Prime Minister's biggest
okay, I think the bite is coming. Let me play out.
तो इसमें मणिपुर का भी एक साल लेने के लिए हमको एक रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दिया इस बात के लिए बहुत धन्यवाद
Sir, you are in the taekwondo ring. Now you are in the hot seat. How do you think will be a difficult place to be in, and how you are going to handle this?
Practice in taekwondo, we want to achieve, I mean, a good taekwondo player. तो उसमें भी तकलीफ है तो पॉलिटिक्स में भी तकलीफ तो होगा
So sir, you have two deputy CMs,
yes.
One Kuki and one Naga.
Right.
So this will help. Will this help in bridging the divide in the amongst the communities, sir?
No, आप एक चीज देखिए, मणिपुर की जो कंपोनेंट है 36 कम्युनिटीज की कंपोनेंट है एंड मणिपुर को संभाल के आया by this 36 communities. तो सेंस ऑफ पार्टिसिपेशन जो दे रहे हैं उससे हम लोग की आशा है कि मतलब पीसफुल एटमॉस्फेयर लाने में बहुत
So finally, sir, what do you want to say to the displaced person, sir?
Sir, big responsibility has been given to you for the development of Manipur. What do you want to say?
हाँ एक मिनट
Sir, 1 minute, sir. We didn't get the time, sir.
You're trying to say something, Manipur, the new Manipur CPM?
Well, yes, and you know, the Prime Minister, ever since he took oath in May 2014, Act Northeast has been one of his biggest push. And you know, we've seen how various ministers, you know, every fortnight or 1 month, 2 month max, you know, would visit Northeast, and it was seen as hailed as a big move. The point is, I think, you know, since 2023, the entire Prime Minister's Act Northeast policy almost got derailed with what happened in Manipur, the subsequent government's complete inability to handle it. Then army was called, army was put in dock, like, there were questions raised about Assam rifles, and, people, the authorities not able to crack down, they were not able to get illegal guns or looted guns which were there out in abundance. And, the overarching influence of civil societies which was not letting a normal political process to take place. So I think, in lieu of all of that, the government realized, and after losing elections in 2024, that there's not much, or there's no longer, that they can delay this. And with elections around the corner, I think this was the best they could have done. The fact of the matter is that, Mr. Khemchand being elected as the chief minister, where he's known to visit, cookie sites, and he's known to be a moderate, though close to N. Biren Singh, and having one cookie and one naga as a deputy chief minister, I would say that it's a very good start. I'm not sure how much it is going to change the situation on the ground, but if you ask me, after a very long time, Karthike, from 2023, ever since this violence broke out, it is perhaps one of the best sign or best foot put forward as far as the government is concerned.
Absolutely, absolutely. Colonel Sapam, your opening comments.
Good evening, Kartikeji. After a long time, I'm meeting you. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion goes like this, that it's a very positive step which has been taken up by the central government. Besides having 37 BJP MLAs, and I would say they kept Manipur under president rule, which I did not expect, before. But then, they kept under president rule, and, we have started enjoying also even president rule. So that's besides. But then, by the government, by the people, of the people, and for the people, it has to be there always. And I think Mr. Khemchand will be able to do justice to all the three communities with his vision and the perception about the Manipur conflict and, the ethnicity which we have over here. I think it's a very positive step which the center has taken. He has been chosen. That's what I would like to say. And he's been rational that way. Very rational, I think. Okay. And I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best. That the national highways are open and that things go. My cookie boys also ring me up many times and then, Saab, aap kuch karo. This kind of thing now, which I felt very bad because I couldn't do anything. So it's a very good thing, very positive step, I would say. It's a very positive step.
Okay. Dr. Tombeng, your opening comments?
Yes, it's a positive step. After 3 years almost of turmoil and almost 1 year of president's rule, popular government seems to be restored now. And maybe this is a political requirement also, maybe constitutional constraints are there as well. But anyhow, a popular government have been formed. CM has taken the oath, Deputy CM Nemcha has taken her oath as well. But then the roadmap for further truth and reconciliation may have to be further discussed, deliberated, and let's hope and pray that peace prevails.
But the fact of the matter is, what seemed impossible some months ago, that you'll have a Cookie Methi combination in Imphal, looks very much possible. General Kocher, did you expect that a political alignment would emerge and there would be a government so soon in Manipur, or did events overtake your assessment?
Thank you, Karthikeya. See, I could make out that the government would have to take a conscious decision for not extending the president's rule, especially when the elections are due next year. Because in case the government delayed it by another 6 months, I think it would be too close to the election time, and therefore whatever the government wants to do now, because it wants to make an impact before the next elections, and that is one of the reasons why president's rule has been revoked. And frankly speaking, Karthikeyan, I'm not surprised, but definitely seeing the leadership being shared by three communities I think that is a very, very major step because it sends a strong signal to the three majority communities in Manipur. Secondly, I've been in touch with some of my Manipur friends in this intervening period, and what they tell me is they are both Metis and Kukis, and many of them are from the armed forces. What they tell me is that's 1 year of President's rule. There has been a sense of stability as far as law and order is concerned. A situation in trying to reduce the differences, I don't think much headway has taken place on that front. But
why do you say that, sir? Why do you say the much headway has not taken place?
Because still 60,000 displaced people are staying in refugee camps. No effort is being made now to make sure they go back, because they can only go back if this distrust among the communities gets taken off. Second important aspect is the buffer zones are still there. See, within a state, you have this kind of buffer zone. It indicates that a situation is still tense there and needs to be diffused to a larger extent. A third important aspect I would like to highlight here is that the militant groups here like Arambai, Tangol, Kuki National Organization, Kuki Liberation Army, and there are so many of them from both the communities. They still have a large number of weapons with them. So some amount of weapons were recovered because there was a drive. If you remember, as soon as the governor took over charge, he gave a timeline to all these groups to return the weapons, but not all. Basically, those low technology type of weapons were returned. The automatics and the rocket launchers and things like that were not returned. So I think these weapons are still there with the community. So that is one major area of concern. And a 6-point government plan was initiated at that point of time when the governor took over. So I would like to expect now, because Khemchand, the chief minister, has a very, very difficult task, and he has very little time. He has just about slightly more than a year now. So this trust factor is the most important, and also Kukis are actually demanding a separate state, a union territory, and they're not budging out from their demand. So that area has to be addressed, and most important, Karthik, is the rehabilitation of those 60,000 people, because you see the conditions there in the refugee camp. Though I've not been there, but what I have been given to understand is things are not very good, and children are there. The healthcare system also needs a push, as well as the jobs and the rehabilitation of these people back to their homes, because they would like to go back to their homes and settle down, and only when these people return to their homes, I will be able to say with the confidence that the trust between the Metis and Kukis and of course Nagas has been.
Okay, I got your point. Dr. Mishra, let me ask this question. Will it be possible for these gentlemen, honorable ministers, both men and women, to travel in territories different from those of their communities? Will we be able to do it, sir?
Karthikeyan, first of all, congratulations to all Manipuris. The governor role is over, and they have a new ministry under Mr. Yumnam Khemchand. I know him personally. I can well tell Mr. Govind Das taking over as Home Minister. Of course, It's not, he's not designated so far as Home Minister, but I am very sure he's taking over. The reason behind Mr. Govind Das taking over as Home Minister is that he belongs to Bishnupur, a place between Maitis and Kukis. He knows both the sides. Secondly, I will tell Mr. Khemchand, whom I know personally for last so many years, he is the only person, being a Maiti, having visited number of displaced camps of Kukis in the Kuki belt areas. He is liked by Kukis and he has got lot of followers in Kuki areas. I spoke to Churachandpur today. Only 2 points I will tell about Churachandpur. Mostly Churachandpur, this Kuki community, they are very happy that Madam Kipgen is coming as Deputy Chief Minister from Kuki. And I will tell you the Kuki National Front, we were now discussing about the weapons which are there with Kuki community. I am very sure the Kuki National Front will be coming out to hand over most of the weapons they have with them. Region, of course, after a few days it will be known. And it's nice of it that Nemcha Kipgen has come as Deputy Chief Minister. And as far as taking Nemcha Kipgen and Mr. Govind Das and also our Losii Dikho from all the three communities, I am very sure, and the national highway is already open. The whole Kuki group are expecting that Kipgen will be there. Mrs. Kipgen and Khemchand both will be looking after the interest of Kukis, particularly the hill tribes and also the development of the hill areas. And I'm very sure he has got 1 year to go, but then they will be. He has a roadmap. I spoke to Imphal few persons, and of course I spoke to Colonel Saab, who is sitting here 2 times now today, and I spoke to few of the journalists also from Imphal. They are very sure that Mr. Khemchand will be definitely going to all areas, whether it is Naga areas, maybe Ukrul or other places, Mao areas, or otherwise in Churachandpur and Bihang and Sangat, Sangai Kot and these areas. They are going to visit, and Mr. Khemchand himself has gone. I am very sure these are the 3 ministers, including Mr. Govind Das. They will be visiting all the areas that are capable to go, and they have gone also. I have I know it pretty well.
No,
that
so,
is difference between both
Mr.
the
Mishra, what are the
communities will come
chances?
to an end.
You know, what are the chances of the odd violence completely destabilizing the entire narrative? You see, the biggest casualty in Manipur is such a skewed narrative where the other community gets othered. You know, that has been the biggest problem. Na? The other community becomes it.
Yeah, Karthikeyan, I'll also add one more point here. I visited 2 camps, 2 of these camps, refugee camps, and I'm telling you, 25% of the people from 6,000, they have already gone back to their houses, and they were given security. And I'm very sure this government will definitely do that all the personnel will go back, and the Kuki and Maiti, the distance which was there, the buffer zone which was there, the distrust which was there, that will end now because of Kipgen coming and Khemchand taking over as Chief Minister. I know it's critical. I got your question, but I'm very sure it's not only that this one is open, this Dimapur axis is open, but then Silchar axis is also going to open, and I'm very sure definitely with the help of both the Kukis,
I'm asking this question, Brijesh. If you remember when sniper shooting took place in Jiribam, let me remind people, Biren Singh could not go there. You recall 1.5 2 years ago, when the sniper shooting took place, he was not able to visit Jiribam.
Absolutely. See, the point is that, you know, if you want to really assess the lay of the land without being overtly, allowing positivity to derail the reality of the situation, I would say, as I said, that it's a very good move on the part of the government. You know, after a long time of the policies of the erstwhile Chief Minister, there was the othering of the community. There were lot of talks about the poppy cultivators and illegal migrations and all. So instead of putting water on the fire, people were putting diesel on the fire, and that is the reason why the situation just did not was getting controlled. Now they have for the first time made an attempt to put water on the fire by getting those two deputy chief ministers, by making bravado or braggadocio, saying that we'll eliminate this, and the X community is a poppy cultivator, Y community is this and that. So that much of restraint I have seen in the last few months, and that has been the only stabilizing factor in the president rule. But if you ask me, all of these gentlemen are much more qualified than me to comment on, but if we have been covering it for a long time, and if you ask me, will it completely change the situation? The situation on the ground will change? I don't think so. Okay. It's a very good start, but will it completely change the situation? It will not. One of the BJP MLAs, my apologies if I'm pronouncing the name correct, Mr. Palanan Haukip, he told a national newspaper that he wouldn't be sitting and being part of the government, because he says that for me the community, the kinship of the community is far bigger
I'll speak.
Than anything else. And he said that I would rather not sit and be side with my community than to go against my community. So there's a deep distrust. The government has to do a lot more than what has been done. But yes, again, if you ask me, it's a good start, but a lot needs to be done.
A lot needs to be, I'll come to you, Mr. Sapam. And before, I'm playing out these file visuals. They are sort of compilation of last 6 months to 12 months, so that the people have an idea. And I'm not playing the videos purposely, just to give them an idea what Manipur went through. So the people, first of all, shouldn't think that this happened, yesterday, 2 hours back. This is just a compilation of what was happening in Imphal, and I have on purpose kept away other violent or visuals of deep violence videos. I have taken them off so people know what was happening in the valley. Mr. Sapam, so my question is, it is one thing to have people sworn in. It is another thing to have them work through the hill and the valley. There are two different things. Is it going to be an Imphal government, or is it going to be a pure play Manipur government? Because there is an internal line of partition where movement of one community is not possible. And the worst thing, or I think a very sad thing which happened, was 2 weeks ago when a boy was shot dead. Just because, he married I think a cookie girl.
Cookie girl.
Yeah, and he was shot dead.
See, Kartikeji, what I can analyze is, it's a very, very good start as such, and very well balanced. And they have taken all the parties together, and there's one MLA from NPP also accommodated in the ministry. But what happened is, one thing which I would like to clarify over here is that Arambai is not militant. Arambai is not militant. This is what I just wanted to clarify.
Okay. And Brajesh does not agree with you, but anyway.
Yeah. But what I think? One thing which we must understand is Paulin Lal and all those things. Mark Haukip, then PS Haukip, Silent Haukip, then Thanglin Pok Guite. All these things are part of the NUG in Myanmar also, and operating from India under Su. So Kartikeji, in this type of government, transparency where ethnicity is there, transparency in the form of government is very important. Transparency is the solution. But what happens is, when Burma Act is there, if it is playing, then with the peace to come in Manipur, it will be difficult. I hope the viewers will understand what is Burma Act, which is very important and which is playing a very big role in Manipur also, in Manipur and Myanmar. So this is what I would like to say. But I am looking forward to a peaceful state in Manipur. In the last 6 months, in the valley at least, the situation has been controlled. And yes, it was a very touching thing that one boy was killed when he went to Churchandpur to be with his wife. That was very touching. And the girl, the lady, is in hospital. She's become a psychic, and she cannot speak, and things like that is happening. So it's very touching thing. It's very sad thing to happen like this. And Paulin Lal is still firm that he will not be part of the government. That is not a positive sign. That I would like to say. It's a good beginning. That's what I would like to say. And I'm praying for the best I'm praying that the national highway opens and we can all, roam around. They also come. Lamjathang Haukip is already there in just few days back. 4-5 days back, he was already here. He was addressing a rally.
When I'm having this conversation, people on my YouTube are writing, we can give it to you in writing. No minister is going to cross the buffer zone. And one of them has wrote that Mr. Mishra is hallucinating. This is the sort of virulent reaction I'm getting on YouTube. This is the sort of virulent reaction I'm getting on YouTube just to even discuss the possibility.
Hanji. That is there. Absolutely. That is there. There is some sign which says that what the statement which you made is correct, because it's not so easy. It's not so easy to open the highway as of now. I think the situation has not yet come. That is what I would like to submit. But then that Burma Act is very important for every Indian to understand. That is what I just want to say.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Dr. Tombing, do you think that the Sioux militants and other organizations will fall in line now?
This is very hard to comment because there are many complex dynamics to it, and then for example, even if we have Nemcha Kipgen as Deputy CM, at the personal level, of course, our achievements are, let's say, appreciated. But another thing is that the larger public aspirations are also intertwined as well. And in the Manipur context, masses usually are mute spectators of what is moved around in the political chessboard. And the political superior or maybe the other non-state actors who wield certain kind of power and influence, they may have their own calculations, and which many of the masses may not know. But what I have also understood in the course of time, and also from experiences of other concerns of ethnic violence in other communities, other countries, is that if the state is willing, politically willing, they do always find a way to ensure peace, tranquility also. Now, the context also now is that one party is...
Dr. Tombing, let me ask this. The whole issue of separate administration has not died down. It started from 6th schedule and it has gone to separate administration in UT. Despite a person from the Kuki community being part of the cabinet, it doesn't mean that the people who are there have agreed to it. And the fact that they are not in agreement, that this buffer zone is there. What is the solution for it, if I may ask you a solution-oriented question?
Because if we say solution-oriented query, because of the othering and many other complex dynamics that has happened, and which has been prolonged for too long, now things have really now got concretized. And if we talk at the level of the masses, are they ready? This is one part of it, because at the level of the masses, whatever little interaction that I have had the opportunity to have, the reconciliation and then the healing is still very far away. And in fact, that has been the demand. The separate administration or UT has been the demand of the tribal communities, Kuki, Zomi communities since 2023. Now, context is, would the politicians make this opportunity as a political opportunity for their own self-interest, or will they look at the larger concern of the people's political aspirations? So what Pauline Haukip said, that it might flare up again. So it is not, I think, spoken in a vacuum. But then you never know. Maybe your cabinet ministers now, you took the oath. But then if the masses are not agreeable to it, and then maybe if there are other vested interests, then you never know. The journey may be even more difficult at the tribe level now. You never know. It's very hard to predict.
It's very hard to predict.
The tide will turn.
I think the tide should turn on the side of peace. I think that's the bottom line. But please don't go away. It's time for a small break. Then I'll come to General Kocha. And our coverage on the Manipur government formation continues.
Co-powered by Tata Capital. Count on us.
Yes, we are in Philippines.
सोच रहा हूँ टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस ले लूं ताकि मेरे बाद फैमिली को पैसों की कमी ना हो। तू भी ले ले।
हमें जल्दी क्या है, बाद में देख लेंगे। आराम से आराम से आराम से।
श्री खुराइजम लोकेन सिंह, मिनिस्टर डेजिग्नेट।
I, Yumnam Khemchand, ang iswagi mindo wasakari, maduri ang na ainal imliba barak sangbitan na siya na thase sangbitan bu siya na thase kani, amasong madungang na sakini. Barak sangbitan asong sakini kani.
Hitler opus Bates.
Minister amoy na uning chang na amasong hati ko na loina na ay ikaw na ko kani. Amasong ay na amasong sangbitan na kini na yung hanggang na akiba ujan nataga.
General Kocha, when the coverage on Manipur used to be on a daily basis, both me and Brijesh used to be, we would have a very tough time. There were people who would take sides of either Manipur police or Assam Rifle. And, we had to ensure that the dignity and, the word garima of both the forces have to be kept intact. And we would end up pilloried by both the sides after the debate on social media. From your perspective, do you think that sort of a animosity which was stigmatization has come to an end?
Karthik, I don't think it has come to an end because you see, unless you ask the previous speaker a solution-oriented question, yes, because I think that is more relevant to the discussion today rather than what has happened, because what has happened cannot be overturned, but certainly we have to look for a solution to the problem, and this solution rests within the people of Manipur, because if you talk to either a Methi or a Kuki, both of them want peace. None of them want volatile situation in Manipur, and Manipur is one of the most beautiful state, and it's got fantastic set of people who have made the country proud. You can keep on naming Mary Cobb and all, so many people are there. So, and they have a lot of pride in their own state. So I think the problem or the solution lies in tackling it in three parts. One is the security aspect, the next is the political aspect, and the third is the governance aspect. So if we look at all these three things together, and if we understand there are certain red lines in Manipur the parties or the communities should be made aware of. The first red line is that the territorial integrity is non-negotiable. So we cannot be thinking for a solution which is going to divide the state into two parts. And the armed groups cannot be the political stakeholders here, because the political people have been elected by the people of Manipur. So they have a larger stake, and the third part is constitutional equity among the people, and this demand for the Methis asking for a special status like the ST status has to be put on the back burner as of now, because in case the Methis are going to insist on this, I don't think the solution will come up. Okay. Next is I'll just conclude. I'll not take much time because we don't have so much of time to discuss because this subject itself is very, very vast. And I would first focus on stabilization of security because the IDPs, the people who have been displaced, have to go back to their homes, and that is the starting point for me. And this buffer zones and all slowly will take time. It won't happen all of a sudden. DGP Mishra, I don't know, he is very optimistic. I'm not that optimistic about that time.
Okay.
And I want a unified security command here in the lines of what is there in Jammu and Kashmir to tackle the entire situation. You have to place the army, Assaf Rifle, CAPF, Manipur police under a single operation commander. Because unless you do that, we have seen it. There are differences in the way Assam Rifle is attacking the situation. Manipur is, police is perceived as a pro-Methi organization, and that has to be, that impression has to be dispelled among the people, and
with your
then the disarmament drive can take place, because also that's not an easy job, because the women also come on the roads, and that's the impediment, for the security, posted to a particular kind of an action. And the last point is the border. You see, this border aspect has to be discussed because 1643 kilometers of border with Myanmar and 398 kilometers is on the Manipur side. And unfortunately, I'm telling you, Karthik, there is a movement from the other side to this side, drug trafficking, mafia. They are all there, poppy cultivation. All these are very, very big issues in Manipur, and it's not going to happen in 1 year. I can assure you the solutions take time because trust is the starting point, and slowly things have to be done in incremental manner. We just can't push it like this.
Then let me ask this question to Dr. Mishra. Dr. Mishra, then, the communities need to converge on the fact. Now, if one community says that there is no poppy cultivation, there is no drug trafficking, there is no illegal migration, a good policy rests on convergence of opinion on some points by everyone. Then it results in stable administrative policy and leads to good implementation. Isn't that?
Yes, Karthikeyan, because definitely I have listened to all the speakers, and I was listening to the Colonel Saab who is sitting here. Practically, I'm very optimistic. Definitely. In fact, I spoke to Churachandpur, and of course, Pao Hakif has come up with a statement that he still stands on different Union territory for a Kuki-Jo community. But I'm very sure, Karthikeyan, that with Nemcha Kipgen from Kankopi coming up, people in Churachandpur, today, when I spoke, they are divided. It's a very nice thing I'm telling you. People in Churachandpur are divided now.
Why? Why are they divided?
Because, you see, mostly, excluding that of Saikot area, others are coming up because it's a combination of the ministry and the Kuki-Jo community. They are taken into this ministry, particularly the whole Kankopi area. They are, in fact, today they are witnessing most of the people. They are having sweets. Celebration is going on in Kankopi. I came to know because I spoke to our security personnel deployed there, and its effect is there in Churachandpur also. They want peace. It's not that they don't want peace. But what I told you, Karthikeyan, much before last 6 months or so, there are 2 points. You see, interference from Myanmar is still there. The drugs and weapons are still coming. And there are 2 points. Number one, the fencing has to be made, and there should be a border guarding force in Myanmar-Manipur border at the earliest. Although it is very difficult. And as far as buffer zone is concerned, of course, it will take time. And the Silchar and Imphal National Highway, that will definitely, it will take some time, but I'm very sure it will open. But as far as this new Chief Minister is concerned, I'm very sure
So
that...
the problem is highways are there, but you know, they get controlled by the military left and right.
But Dimapur is quite open, but then it is all Silchar road has to be kept open. And I'm very sure with Mr. Khemchand, he will definitely have a visit to Jiribam. We were telling that Mr. N. Biren Singh could not go there. I'm very sure Mr. Khemchand is a person who will definitely visit that place. And with this ministry, of course, they are having a roadmap. They have already made a roadmap. Buffer zone will be there for few more months. And whatever that happened at Maibong, that gentleman from Mighty, he was shot dead. Of course, this type of some incidents will keep on happening. But we have to see what the general was telling now. Like that of Jammu and Kashmir, I'm absolutely with him. There should be a coordinated operation. There should be a single command. There should be a single command in Manipur under which Assam Rifle, BSF, CRPF, Manipur and all state police forces must act under that so that coordinated operation can be made. That is what is required. And then, of course, the governance. The governance has to be there in the hill areas. And with Mr. Nemcha Kipgen, definitely she is the person who can go to Churachandpur. Nobody can stop him. And the whole KNF is there behind her. I'm telling you, the whole KNF is there behind her. And she will visit Churachandpur and very sure she will take Mr. Khemchand also along with her.
Okay.
Very definitely it will happen.
Okay. Just before we proceed further, let me just play out the bite of the Chief Minister, the new Chief Minister, or freshly minted Chief Minister of Manipur.
विकसित भारत की 1947 तक में इसकी ग्रोथ नेशनल की ग्रोथ जो आना है तो इसमें मणिपुर का भी हिस्सा लेने के लिए हमको एक रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दिया इस बात के लिए बहुत धन्यवाद.
Sir, you have two deputy CMs.
Yes.
One Kuki and one Naga.
Right.
So this will help. Will this help in bridging the divide in amongst the communities, sir?
now आप एक चीज देखिए, मणिपुर की जो कंपोनेंट है 36 कम्युनिटीज की कंपोनेंट है एंड मणिपुर को संभाल के आया बाय दिस 36 कम्युनिटीज. तो सेंस ऑफ पार्टिसिपेशन जो दे रहे हैं उससे हम लोग की आशा है कि मतलब पीसफुल एटमॉस्फेयर लाने में बहुत.
You know, before I close in this round of the conversation, before the break, let me take comment from Colonel Sapam. Colonel Sapam, you know, there will be a government, there will be you know, portfolio distribution, everything will be in place. What do you think should be the biggest priority in context of the valley? And my question to Dr. Tombing would be, what is the biggest priority when it comes to the priority for the hill areas? First to you, Colonel Sapam.
Well, as far as the valley is concerned, I would say that I think it is in the mood that forgive and forget. Forget and forgive. That is why I just said that even, you know, Lamjaktang Haukip, he addressed one rally, right? You know, one of the biggest rally over here, just around 3-4 days back. That was precisely on 31st of, you know, last month, January. I think it will be something on that line. But, you know, things like there's one group called Kuki Human Rights Council. They are strongly objecting any Kuki people, MLAs joining the government and supporting and things like that. So there's, and ADG Mishra sir has just said that when Nemcha goes to Churachandpur, KNF will be there. Why he said that? Because KNF, that is a militant, one of the biggest militant organization in Manipur from the Kuki side, and the president of that militant organization is her husband. So that is why he has referred to that. But you know what happened is, what I could see is, as I said, because there are many, you know, CSOs from the other side who says that popular government we don't want. We want separate administration, no negotiation on separate administration, and separate administration, this demand has not been from 2023. No, it is not so. It has been there since 1969. And down the lane, they have been demanding it again and again. There was this thing, you know, there was in 2016 also, there was a rally. So it is not that they are just demanding like that. It is not that. It's been happening since long. It is just not picked up in 2023. And as far as the national highway is concerned, it should be open. If it is not open, then the Meiteis will have reservations basically. If it is not open, Meiteis will not like any type of any form of government. Even Khemchand or any person who comes, if the national highways are not open, if there are many people who are suffering, the flight tickets are so high and people cannot go, and they have to go to Guwahati for treatment and various things. So people are suffering, and must be suffering from the other side also. Other side means other cookie side also. They are going to, one officer, who was junior to me, he spoke to me that his mother-in-law is in Bangalore. He'll go to Aizawl, and from there he'll fly down from Aizawl to Churachandpur, and that will take 12 hours. Go to Aizawl and come back. So the other side also people are suffering. This side also are suffering. But then, if people say that we are not going to be part of the government and hamara demand hi hona hai, then it is very difficult. I would say this. And as far as the Meitei's demand is concerned, I think it is very legitimate. Meitei, very frankly speaking, I stay right in the heart of the city, that is Imphal, and I saw an electric bulb for the first time in 1995. 1995, that is the civilization. And if you today also, I went to a little outskirt of Imphal, the situation is very bad, economically very bad, basically. So I would say that Mr. Tombing also would agree. Meiteis, are not, as far as inflation is concerned, Manipur has got the highest inflation rate over here. Things are so costly, and people are in pathetic condition, economically so weak now. So Meiteis have been, deprived of the status which it was due since the merger with the Indian Union. T.C. Hudson and then various censors during the British time, the British Assam province, under them, the British had kept the Meiteis as the hill tribe in the list number 1, and it was missed out since then. And the Meiteis have been, when there is no equality, there will always be a conflict. When there has to be equality, so that understanding is there, and then sharing and things like that is there. And the Meitei becoming ST is not going to affect. We have to share it like the way Nagaland is doing it. But when it comes in the national level, it is very difficult. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Tombing, very quickly.
Yes, for the tribal communities, Kuki-Zomi, in a group identity context of it, maybe one that, of course, the demand is for written assurance, which may not necessarily be that easy to, in fact, to clinch at the moment. But another thing that we can also do is at least that some kind of fair trial for the victims who have lost their lives, the suffering that they have gone through, if we could ensure some kind of justice and then also compensation, rehabilitation, maybe that is one way we move ahead as of now. But another thing that we also should understand is that the issues are very complex, and the demands and interests and then the requirements of the communities themselves are also very different and distinct, and there is usually lack of diversion understanding among the communities themselves also. So in such a regard, of course, Nemcha Kipgen becoming a deputy CM is good. Maybe for some section of the society, maybe this is a personal achievement for herself as well. But what is the larger concern and aspiration of the people? Of course, it is peace, but then peace with what kind of assurances? That we might have to think over it, and this will be maybe it will require some more looking into our heart and maybe try to understand.
I think you made a very strong point. There has to be compensation, rehabilitation, justice. Thank you all of you. It's time for a short break, but our coverage on Manipur will continue after the short break.
यार सोच रहा हूँ पॉलिसी बाजार से टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस ले लेता हूँ ताकि मेरे बाद फैमिली को पैसों की कमी ना।
तू भी ले ले यार, अभी तो यंग है यार, बाद में देखते हैं, आजा चल।
पॉलिसी बाजार पर 0 GST के साथ अब 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 400 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
स्पीड अंदरेनो ಇದು ಎಂಜಿನಿನ ಗರ್ಜನೆಯೇ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಚಲನೆ ಅಲ್ಲ.
Philippines.
The year-long President's rule in Manipur has finally come to an end. Manipur has been dominated by law and order issues since last 3 years, despite violence coming to an end, intermittent issues of firing and intermittent issues of law and order, I would say, would end up disturbing the tranquility of the state. It was difficult to get communities to come together, but now it seems things are changing. A multi-ethnic cabinet is here with us. There is a multi-ethnic cabinet. Now, what you see in front of your TV screen is the entire swearing-in ceremony. And in this swearing-in ceremony, we have the new Chief Minister of Manipur. He is taking oath. He commands Manipur now. He will be the head of Unified Command. He will have the full support of MLAs from all communities. It's a very big and a very good development that has taken place in Manipur. But the challenges are numerous. They are not small challenges. Challenges are about security, challenges are social, political. But you know, Tombing made a very important comment, Vijay. She said, compensation, rehabilitation and justice.
I think, you know, as one of the Major General was talking about, you know, one of the key thing is that until and unless rehabilitation is done, and you know, of people who are internally displaced, not much can be said, because those are festering wounds which need to be catered to first before you go on an outreach which is acceptable to all. Second thing is, I personally feel that what is very important is of dialing down of rhetoric. You know, of what we saw at that point of time, you know, the rhetoric was of, you know, was of another level altogether, you know, adding fuel to fire rather than making an attempt to douse it. Now, I think, you know, if you dial down the rhetoric in a bit and, you know, make an honest outreach, you know, it's not that people are blind, but there's lot needs to be done, you know, because we have seen how, you know, people got killed, thousands and thousands were displaced. They were living in these you know, tents and all in inhuman conditions for a very long time. We ran a program on that, you know, about the conditions of those places where those internally displaced were kept there. It's inhuman for anyone to be living in those conditions, makeshift arrangement, for more than 3 years or around 3 years. So those things need to be catered. But the positivity side is that yes, compensation has to be there, reconciliation has to be there, acceptance has to be there that some wrongs have been done. You know, and unless you move forward in a very positive way, there's no way you are going to attain the end goal, which is a violence-free Manipur.
You think the shrill has gone down?
The shrill has gone down. Definitely it has gone down. And I think, you know, one of the short sign of the shrill has gone down and how the central government also wants to play it is there in the form of the composition of the cabinet. You know, if you remember, before the president rule was imposed, you know, we saw, like, you know, that poppy cultivators and usually the kind of disparaging references to the Kuki community was. And, you know, it has gone down a lot. And with a Kuki, you know, person as a deputy chief minister would also send positive signals. How much of it translates on the ground remains to be seen, because all of it is easier said than done. It's a fragile piece. It can go awry at any given point of time.
It can go awry. I'm very happy to inform my viewers. I'm joined by Lieutenant General Shaukin Chauhan, former DG Assam Rifles. I'm also joined by Group Captain retired B. Nandakumar Sharma, Professor Prasanajit Biswas, Professor of Philosophy, Northeastern Hill University, is with me. Thank you so much, sir. And Dr. Mishra, BSF, ADG, he continues to be with me. Let me straight away go to General Chauhan. Sir, your opening comments on the government that has come up. So my question to you is the government out of political compulsion that the elections are a year away, or do you think that this government has the capacity to change things substantially at the level of social fabric for the people of Manipur, sir?
Thank you so much, Karthik, for getting me on your show. I am hoping that this government is does have its heart in the right place. It's a hope because so many things have gone wrong over the last couple of years, and you know, we've been discussing this ad nauseum, but eventually the people have to accept this government. People have to accept it as a legitimate government, and the Kuki-Zo community and the Maitis have to get along. We've been talking for so many times that this is the only way, a joint government. And I'm so happy to see the formation of this government. I'm so happy to see the new chief minister, and I can only wish him all the best, because he's the only Maiti MLA who has actually visited Kuki camps. That shows that his heart is in the right place. That shows that he has decided that he is going to bring these two communities together. In fact, if you remember, just take your mind back to December, he was almost accosted by the Corcom, who wanted to know where his heart was and what did he want. And he, at that time in December, said that I am for peace, I am for reconciliation. And that's a great thing. And if he's come back, at that time he wasn't in the line for run-up of a chief minister, and that shows that his heart is in the right place.
We have a Taekwondo champion as a chief minister, sir.
Yes.
Fifth Dan black belt.
So I have known him as the DG Assam Rifles. I've known him as a sensible person. I've known him as a person who talks straight. And the good thing is that the legitimacy of this government will be better than the legitimacy of the previous government. We could not have continued President's rule continuously. So the best way was to form a government which actually gets all the communities together. And I'm very happy to see that. So there are three things that actually, you know, are creating a problem for Manipur. Firstly, is the legitimacy of the governance. That's the first issue. The second is that is there or will there ever be a reconciliation between the Kukis and the Maitis? You know, the last two generations have taken such hard line that there's only a couple of weeks back that we saw the killing of a Maiti who'd gone to meet his Kuki wife. So all these issues are issues that are likely to create a problem. But if the chief minister, the new chief minister, has his heart in the right place, he'll be able to reconcile these issues. And having his deputy as a Kuki deputy chief minister means that he means business. And I'm very happy to see that the Home Ministry has been able to get the right mix at the present moment.
Okay. Mr. Nandakumar Sharma, do you think that the opportunity outweighs the challenges for the new Chief Minister, or will the challenges outweigh the opportunity?
Karthikeyan, firstly, let me congratulate Sri Yumnam Khemchand and his team for forming this government after 1 year of President's rule. And you have rightly asked the question, and the challenges are huge, and he has very less time. In fact, after 1 year or so, the election will be there, and then before the 6 months before the election, there will be code of conduct, and he has effectively 6 months on his hands, and he has to do a lot of work. He has to win the trust of the people, and under the security and the political constraints laid down by the central government. And the present, even the administrative functioning for the people living in Manipur, not only in the Imphal, throughout the Manipur, they are facing a lot of administrative problems because of the absence of the absence of the government. So he has a lot to do, roads and electricity, as well as the water supply problems faced by the people, apart from the very important IDP's issue of returning to their hometown, as promised by the Chief Secretary that 31st March would be the deadline. He has got a huge task, and with the political compulsions and the constraints, if he can deliver along with his team with multi-ethnic.
But Mr. Sharma, you know, two things remain big problem: extortion and inflation. In fact, police in Manipur had very candidly said, please come out and help us. Extortion and high inflation has been persistent problem in Manipur.
Yes, Kartika, there exists a lot of problems, including extortion and other related issues. These are the lack of law and order or inability by the governing authority to enforce law and order. That is even the democratic rights by the people, all the people, including all the communities, are happening because that the democracy is let down by the rule of the book, the हमारा भारत के संविधान as well as the BNS. These are not able to implement on ground, so there will be a lot of problems. So if they ensure and they have the political will to crack down those all the illegal activities done by any persons, irrespective of the communities, this can be cracked down and it can be resolved. It depends on the political will of the present team.
Okay. Okay. Professor Prasenjit Biswas, your opening comments. Then I'll start asking very straight questions.
The formation of a government has to be understood in the right political and social context. Absence of violence cannot be termed as a kind of a peace, because peace has to come with justice. It has to come with truth. It has to come with reconciliation. The amount of violence that has left a whole lot of population displaced, maimed, tortured, butchered, they are still crying for justice. So at this point of time, whether the government will be able to provide that kind of justice that reorients the entire polity towards bringing a kind of a human face in the governance is the major question. As far as the symbolic representation of communities are concerned, there always remains a visible or an invisible hierarchy. We can still see that there is a hierarchization of the representation, which works both ways. Sometimes it sort of melts down a certain kind of an anguish, and sometimes it creates more problems than it can solve. So therefore, the government that is formed at this point of time is coming with a kind of a heavy baggage. The baggage is not at all removed. And therefore, one has to be extremely watchful to understand what is going to happen in the ground reality. There is a narrative of the state which is currently being propagated in many places, but there is also a narrative of the society at the grassroots level, at the civil society level, at the level of the people. And you can see a certain kind of a loss of hope, loss of trust as well at this point of time. So I think restoration will become a major issue for this government. This is my opening comment, Karthik.
Okay, Dr. Mishra, do you think the restoration will be a major issue unless and until reconciliation, recompensation, justice and movement of displaced people is completely settled?
Yes, Karthika, you are absolutely correct. Because the way the situation is there in all the relief camps, they are really pathetic. And of course, out of 60,000, more or less 10% or more, they have gone back and they were given security and they have gone back. But it's a big challenge for the new government to see that all these persons should get security and they go back to their houses. And this is the first major task of Yumnam Khemchand to do it. And particularly with our Losii Dikho, we didn't speak about Losii Dikho because he coming as Deputy Chief Minister. I'm very sure our this national highway, the access to Dimapur, will remain open always. I'm very sure because the Mao area and Kangkopi area, they will be dominated and they are going to help the government in keeping Dimapur road open. The problem lies with this Silchar axis, and that is the problem we are facing it, and it will take time. But as far as Nemcha Kipgen and Govind Das coming up, and particularly Govind Das from Bishnupur coming up, things will be better in the buffer zone. Because Mr. Govind Das is a person who is getting the Home Ministry. He is having hold in Bishnupur, Sangai Court and Singhat, particularly those areas even in Kuki-dominated area, Torbuk Banglo, Torakhong Sangbi, Maibong, where this killing took place also. He knows this area and he visits also. Up to Churachandpur he goes. So he is a person, he can go to Kuki community and this buffer zone, because he sits on the buffer zone. He has got a very big role to do as a Home Minister, and I'm very sure with Mr. Govind Das taking over as Home Minister, the situation will be much better. And of course, we had a very bad incident at Poibong in that Sorbung area where the individual was shot. But this type of incidents are happening in Kashmir also. But I suggest that the way the coordinated operations should go against the militants, that has to be single-handed, because there should be a command structure like Jammu and Kashmir, so that one single commander has to be there, whether it is Assam Rifle or BSF or CRPF or Manipur Police, they have to act under him. But you see, as far as Chief Minister is concerned, if Chief Minister will remain as a commander, he has no time for looking after the security part of it. And neither Honorable Governor can do it, not the security advisor can do it. It is the best part of it. One single commander, whether he may be from army or any other forces, he has to be nominated as the commander of all forces operating in Manipur. Otherwise, and we have to check the border, because I'm very sure Myanmar is definitely penetrating with drugs and weapons. They are coming from that, and American weapons are coming. Kartikan, I'll tell you that why the American weapons are coming, because America is also sending weapons to this against Janta government. They are having American weapons, they're operating. So these American weapons are coming to Myanmar, from Myanmar to Manipur. So we have to be very cautious. That is what, for operation and this stoppage of poppy cultivation and everything, we require a command structure, and single command structure is required.
Okay.
Kartikan, one more point I'll tell you about the Psychot incident.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. But you know, I have one question for I have one question for General Chauhan. Sir, you know, Manipur was supposed to be gateway to the Act East. It was supposed to be part of the Kaladan project. I had travelled from Imphal to More to Tamu and came back. The free movement regime is gone. With that, I don't know how much trade will be there. The Kaladan is not happening because Myanmar army itself is not in control of the border areas. I mean, say Manipur unrest has changed a lot of things from the strategic perspective as well. You know, we look at it from the perspective of ethnicity, but it has strategically changed a lot of things. You know, it's not possible. The trade is not possible. It should have been the corridor, the mouth. That's not possible. It has impacted a lot of the things. And Manipur was chosen. It was not Nagaland. It was not supposed to be Arunachal Pradesh. It was supposed to be Manipur. That has not happened now.
Karthik, I totally agree with you. If you remember, when the railway line was being brought into Manipur, one of the main issues was that as the railway line comes there, they will build huge storage facilities. The trade that is needed to come and to cross over to Southeast Asia would come by rail to Manipur or Imphal. From there would be downloaded and then would be taken by trucks or through the land route through Myanmar onto the rest of Southeast Asia. This was the plan. In 2019, I was a part of the plan where we discussed this issue with the Myanmar officials about how Manipur could be the trade hub of the future of the Northeast. And very clearly at that time it was brought out that Manipur would be the hub of the entire trade that India would do through the land route to Southeast Asia. Now, unfortunately, three things happened. The first thing was, of course, the situation in Manipur totally. Manipur, Imphal, and the road from Imphal to More or to Tamu totally got disturbed because of the problems. One community owns the Imphal Valley. The second community controls the road towards Tamu, and therefore that road could not be opened. It became a problem. Secondly, the three brother alliance in Myanmar suddenly took on a larger strategic role and decided to upset the movement of everything moving through Myanmar. And as a result, the Myanmar army lost control of the border areas, and therefore now today they no longer have control of the border areas. And third, of course, is the quiet burial of the Koladan project. That unfortunately, with Bangladesh going from one side, with Manipur being in this kind of situation, with the Myanmar army losing control, these three issues actually have made sure that whatever we had thought of as being the pushing through the land route the trade to Southeast Asia, that's already gone. Now, the entire situation is, how do we get it back? The first thing is we have to get our house in order. While I, agree with Dr. Mishra, ADG Mishra, that look, we need to have our security in place. We need to prevent people from coming in. We need to prevent inimical elements from coming inside Manipur. Yeah. But all that cannot be done if we continue to remain at war with ourselves. And that's the issue, Karthik, that it must be understood by our decision makers, by our politicians, and by our security officials, that our own situation in Manipur has to be controlled first before we can look at Myanmar or look at anything else. So this is the crux, and I totally agree with the ADG Mishra, that we have to get our house in order. We have to get the cookies. We have to get the Maitis. We have to make them sit together, and we have to make them understand that the future of their generation belongs to them only if they can get themselves together and to behave as a community should. That's the only way we can go forward. Security-wise, I agree. We must have a single commander. We've been talking about this ad nauseum again. We don't seem to get our act together. The security advisor too had no control over the situation. Yes. You have GOC 3 Corps.
Why do you say that, General Chauhan? Why do you say that? Where do you make a comment like that?
Because the security advisor is not in sync with GOC 3 Corps, who are coordinating the operations in the entire Northeast. So the Indian Army has a single commander, GOC 3 Corps, who is located in Dimapur, and under whose forces the Assam Rifles also functions. The security advisor should have had and should have been in sync with GOC 3 Corps to ensure that, since he commands almost to a lakh of troops, or even more, the rest of the forces that have been added into Manipur area could work under him, and separate areas could be demarcated in separate situations so that the area could be controlled. But this didn't happen. It didn't happen because Dr. Biren Singh decided that unless he got Assam Rifles out of Imphal, he would not be able to control the valley of Imphal. And as a result, a couple of battalions of the Assam Rifles were sent to Kashmir, as you know, the J&K. So these are all issues, Karthik, that we've got to get and to understand that this country is ours. We can't be playing with little parts of the situation. We've got to do these things together. We've got to get reconciliation. We've got to rehabilitate them. We've got to give them compensation, and we've got to get the security of this place in order. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely spot on. Mr. Sharma, do you agree with General Chauhan?
I partially agree with General Chauhan. This security arrangement in Manipur is for many years, as General Chauhan knows much better than me. The security forces like Assam Rifle has been since many years. In my childhood, in 80s and 70s, bigger operations, bigger problems, though it was not among the ethnics. There was a problem, but still the problem exists. That means the presence of security forces cannot solve the problem existing in Manipur. It is the policy overhauling requirement, which can be done only by the government of India, not by the government of Manipur. I have spoken, I am right now in Imphal, and I have spoken to many police officers, higher rank, lower rank. They said they can eliminate the problems of insurgencies, either in hills or in valleys, and they have the capabilities. And many army officers of high rank, they also acknowledge the capability of Manipur police, especially the Manipur commandos. And the Manipur police and the commandos have been instrumental in eliminating the military insurgencies in the valleys and the hills, and even going towards the Myanmar also. So they have the capability. The problem is the policy paralyzed or policy overhauling requirement from the government of India. As General Chauhan has said, there are many, a lakh or so security forces available. So the only problem is they are not able to act as per the direction of the government or the India government. So there is a limitation of the security apparatus and the policy overhauling requirement. So until unless this CM faces may change, it will be just an optics. If you don't change the policy of the Manipur, whatever it can be discussed separately by the experts, if the ground reality will not change, temporarily it may subside. As Dr. Prasad has said, absence of violence doesn't mean the peace. He is absolutely right. There is absence of violence at present for few times, but there is no peace at all. So reconciliation at ground level by the president-elected CM and his team is challenging and very much required. At the same time, there is a requirement for policy changes from the center government. Kartikeya.
Absolutely. And my question, and it's time for a short break, but I'll come to Brijesh and then I'll come to my other guest. Brijesh, why did BJP choose this time? Why did they take so much time to go for this experiment, but after the break?
शिव प्रसाद जी को बीमारी के कारण 15 बार हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट होना पड़ा। पॉलिसी बाजार की टीम ने उनका लाखों का क्लेम अप्रूव करवाने में पूरी हेल्प की। पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ का हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 550 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
Every champion's journey starts with second thoughts.
क्या हुआ?
Till they see it's possible and there is someone who truly believes in them.
एक दिन बहुत बड़ा आदमी बनना है ना?
Orchids, the international school, raising 85,000 champions across India.
दूरियां कोई अपनों में ना रहे, दिल में जब उमंग हो, घर है वही जहाँ सब संग हो, रिश्तों को रंग दो, दुनिया को रंग दो।
बिरला ओपस पेंट्स। वकील साहब, अच्छी खासी प्रैक्टिस है, नया फील्ड में क्यों जाना?
सिस्टर, देश का सोच रहे हैं
और इसके फ्यूचर का नहीं सोच रहे?
SBI लाइफ से अपनी बेटी का फ्यूचर सिक्योर है।
तभी तो इनको अपने इरादे पूरे करने का राइट है।
पढ़ो पढ़ो, देश की कई बेटियों का फ्यूचर सिक्योर करना है।
करो पूरे अपने इरादे,
अपनों से किए सभी वादे।
SBI लाइफ अपने लिए,
अपनों के लिए।
So Brijesh, my question is, why did BJP decide on this time? Why now? Why not 6 months ago?
Well, I think, the BJP was also grappling with the political instability which was there. BJP thought that, if N. Biren Singh, if they force him out, then the N. Biren Singh might, split the party. And that was one embarrassment they would have wanted to avoid all along. He came from Congress party, he could have gone back to Congress party. It would have caused a major embarrassment to the party. And I think, they also trusted him a touch too much for their own comfort.
Why did you say trusted him a touch too much?
Because, what he was doing was not solving the problem. He started raising the ratcheting up the conversation to a level where, it had become so difficult for the government to climb down for that. It's like complete othering of the community, and then, being completely ballistic about his priorities and all. It was too much. It was very intense in an already volatile situation. And that is the reason why, once the exit of N. Biren Singh was there, it also took government a lot of time to calm down the situation. I completely agree with General Chauhan, when he said that the security advisor was also not in sync, and he was also, after, because we have heard his briefings like for months altogether, where he's talking about situation in this area has been brought down, situation in this area has improved and all, but overall it was just a fragile peace which was achieved by the boots on the ground. You remove them, immediately it became volatile. So government after a while also realized that, you have to go to elections. So this time they have gone for a person who is known to be rinsing, but who also carries a very moderate image. Someone who has visited the cookie camp, somebody who is like, who's not a very aggressive person and trying to, ratchet up the discourse rather than, having a sane conversation. And cosmetically, or whichever way you want to look at it, I'm not saying that this is going to solve the problem at all, but I'm saying that at least a good foot has been put forward by getting people of other ethnicities.
Was RSS on the same page?
Mr. Khemchand is known to be close to RSS, and last time when there was a fight between N. Biren Singh and one other gentleman who's going to be the next chief minister. I'm forgetting the name. Khemchand was also one of the strong contender at that point of time in race for the chief minister. RSS was backing him up. And this time I think, a better sense has prevailed, so that they send a person who's now talking about, Manipur as a composite, talking only about Manipuri identity. Otherwise, it was quite a belligerent talk in a very, very fragile environment before the president ruled.
Okay, Prasanji, my question to you is about the civil society members. Do you think that now they will be under better control of the administration? Instead of playing a very positive role, if you look at the role that the civil society organizations have played, actually they accentuated the shrill rather than dousing it in last 2 years.
There is this evil nexus between some of the civil society groups and the vigilante. And that nexus still remains, and it's operative under the very nose of the government.
Why do you say that?
Because you can see there is this Songnung violence, just 5-6 days back, and the whole village was completely burnt down, and nobody uttered a word about it. So you can see that the arms that were looted from the Manipur police armory, had it come back? It hasn't come back. So I would strongly
Government
say
says it has come back. Government says it has come back.
No, it hasn't come back. Sophisticated rifles hasn't come back. We can just check this. The second important thing is that internal security matters are not to be confused with security issues at the border. All the time, border comes into the internal security matters, and that's a flaw in our security doctrine itself. Then the question of having a unified command, that should have automatically happened. Why it didn't happen? It didn't happen because there is this sharp division between security forces, and there is willy-nilly some kind of an ethnicization of the security itself. So whether we have come out of this is a big question. And then the question of cookie drop political demand of a 6th schedule under Article 239 has not been at all addressed. There is a hush-hush about it. So I think things need to be addressed. They are not to be sullied down like this. And then if we address the real issues, then certain things will happen in a very nice way.
But I think, Professor, I think the government has said that there will be no 6th schedule. I'm sorry, there will be no separate administration. I think the government has been categorical.
Yeah. Yes.
No, but then that means cookie jar political demand is sidelined. Once you sideline cookie jar political demand, that's what happens in a state like Manipur. That is well known. History tends testimony to that. So therefore, there are these red lines that are still, just suppressed, and you cannot suppress the real malaise by looking at some of the symptoms which seem
What
to
is
be
the
very
real
good.
malaise? What is the real malaise?
This ethnic division, this ethnocratic situation, this real borders that exist between people, and the attacks that have happened even in recent times. All these are real red lines. We cannot just cite them aside, brush them aside. Now we have to, I am not saying it should be raked up, but there should be a process of reconciliation. And there should be a dialogue on all these critical issues. The dialogue hasn't happened between communities at all. And we have brought back the same old government. It's a new wine, maybe in a new bottle, not in the old bottle anymore. But I am supposed to be somebody who should give a critical reflection. And this is critically so today in today's Manipur, that the divisions remain. I hope the division doesn't conflagrate. That's the only hope, nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. Karthikeyan.
Dr. Mishra, do you agree?
I agree to some extent. It is not a new wine. It is a new rose bottle. That is what I will tell.
Okay.
Because you see, to some extent, I agree with him about the security aspect of it. I don't tell that there was a failure of the security advisor. That's a different issue. But during President rule till today morning, of course, last 1 year, nothing could happen. The reconciliation could not be done properly. The buffer zone existed and the national highway could not be opened. So the failure was that. And as the DG Assam Rifle was speaking, even I also spoke to earlier, we have to look into all these aspects. Reconciliation and the distrust between these two communities, that has to be looked into. And I hope so, with Nemcha Kipgen coming and our Naga leader also, and Govind Das, who is there, Losii Dikho will be there. They will be. They have made the roadmap before the ministry was formed. The roadmap they have made it, but they have less time. They have only one year before the election. But I am very sure if they can work. As you were telling, the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh could not go to Jiribam, and and he could not go to Churachandpur. Here I am very sure Khemchand is a person, I know him pretty well. He is a person who will visit to all the places. I am very sure, including Nemcha Kipgen. And that will definitely hope, and with Govind Das also at Vishnupur, I hope the roadmap is there, but it will take time and reconciliation has to be done, and the security aspect of it, particularly at the border. I don't agree with Mr. Mishra that the border and internal security duties should not come together. It is Manipur. It's a border state. The border has to be discussed in Manipur. Until and unless we don't check the border, Manipur will never be quiet. Because the interference of USA is still there. I am very openly telling, interference of USA is there because the USA weapons are coming through this the rebels, through Myanmar to this, those rebels who are having these guns. And it is not only Arambai Tangle those who are having weapons. It is not only these weapons which are looted from our police departments and the armory. It is the weapons which have American weapons which have come from the rebels.
Okay, let me just broaden it. General Chauhan, we're just talking about Myanmar. I think we are missing the big picture. We have not factored in what had happened in Bangladesh and what it means for our northeastern area.
I mentioned Bangladesh, Karthik, in the earlier conversation. I mentioned Bangladesh as being one of the linchpins to ensure our Act East policy. And the issue is like this, that while, Dr. Mishra might want to bring up any number of issues that are creating a problem for us, the idea or the fact that Bangladesh has openly said that they are the linchpin as far as the Northeast is concerned, and India's passage to the Northeast is an issue that we should be a little worried about. Bangladesh has immense capability to create problems or at least mischief for us in the border areas. We must understand that. And for that, we must make sure that our border states are kept secure. And yes, I agree with Dr. Mishra that in Manipur, the internal security issue and the border are synonymous with each other. And that is why we want the same force that is holding the border to also look at the insurgency, because it is the same insurgents who come through Myanmar into Manipur and create mayhem. So the same force for better coordination has to look at both the aspects. And the second aspect is that, unfortunately, the Manipur police has no survivability. The reason is that the police operates in smaller numbers, while the insurgents sometimes operate, and I have seen them, or sometimes operate in numbers upwards of 50, of 60.
How is that possible, sir? That movement of so many people together?
Yeah.
They don't have to move together, Karthik. They can move in ones and twos through the border, through the open areas, and then come and coordinate at one point. That is why, Karthik, the Assam Rifles, when it holds the Indo-Myanmar border, holds it in company posts. That means 120 soldiers. And that company post is able to withstand any kind of attack by a larger number of insurgents. And that is why these smaller posts of 10, 15 that were actually suggested by many people, that why don't you hold these posts in smaller numbers? The smaller numbers have no survivability. That is why we said that we can only hold in larger numbers, and therefore a company should be the best factor on which it opens. And that company then throws out patrols, platoon size, maybe 2 platoon size, to go and look at the security of the area. These dynamics have to be understood by both our scholars, by our politicians and our administrators, to understand this link between Myanmar and the insurgents, and why this link is important for us to ensure security. And the other issue is that you cannot do away with the fact that the Kuki Zo people are ethnically Chins. And because they're ethnically Chins, the Chin National Army, or the Chin National Front, the CNF, which is actually fighting the Myanmar army, are actually ethnically related to the Kukis. And if any kind of weapons are coming in, they're coming in through the help that the CNF and CNA is giving them. So the Kuki-Zo people are also armed. The Kuki-Zo people are also Mizos. Yeah. So Mizoram is also affected. So unless we understand, Karthik, this relationship between tribes, this relationship between ethnicity, this relationship that surrounds us, we will never understand how to bring peace in this place. And we have to have a larger reconciliation. We have to get these tribals together to understand that the future lies in security. It lies with India, and India will be the guarantor of the security. We cannot allow, Karthik, any kind of mischief by any foreign power. And to prevent this mischief from happening, we have to keep our own state secure. This is an issue we must understand. We cannot allow this petty situations to come through and to say that this is there and this is there, because any number of ethnicities that are there in the Northeast have their net providers of both information and equipment and arms and weapons in Myanmar. And unfortunately, Myanmar is facing up to 18 insurgencies. And these 18 insurgencies are ensuring, and here comes the actual, Dr. Mishra is not talking about the hand of the Chinese. Yeah. It is the Chinese who arm both the ethnic insurgent groups and the Myanmar army. And it is the Chinese who have always had a hand in creating a problem within India. And we unfortunately have allowed them to create this problem within us because we've not been able to get our security situation in hand. Back to you.
I would just ask one more thing to Janachari. When we can tackle the Mizo militancy and we can have a political resolution in 80s, then why can't the same thing be done in Manipur?
Exactly, Karthik. Now let me explain this.
Lal Denga Accord, if I recall it.
Yes. And I have, in fact, Karthik, I took this Mizo insurgency example, and I took it to now the present Home Secretary when I was the chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group in Nagaland in 2019, 2020. And I told him, I said, look, if we have to have any issue, this should be the example that we want. Now, the Mizos are the same ethnic tribe as the Kuki-Zo people or the Chin people. They're the same ethnic tribal society. So to get peace, we should have involved the Mizos to help us get peace and to convince the Kukis and to convince the Maitis that they should live together. But it didn't mean Maitis and Kukis attacking each other, because obviously then the ethnic lines get drawn. And that is why Mizoram created and said that, look, unless this stops, they started throwing out all the Maiti people from Mizoram. We have to understand this connect. After all, tribal lines are tribal lines. They've been these tribes for 5,000 years. And Indian only for 75 to 80 years. So we've got to get these tribes together, Karthik. We've got to make them understand their stake in ensuring that India remains safe. India today, as you know, we are the only safe haven in the rest of South Asia. We are the one security, political, economic miracle of South Asia. Everybody understands that unless they are a part of this safe haven, the rest of South Asia is in shambles. And this is what we have to make our fragile fringe communities understand. And this understanding can only come through what I call reconciliation, rehabilitation, and an understanding that everyone has their own culture, but we can be one nation. That is the issue, Karthik, that it's important for our politicians to understand. It's important for Delhi to understand that it cannot play games with separate communities.
Absolutely.
And this is the issue why Mizos, recently, in fact, I think about a year back, I wrote an article on that also, why the Chief Minister of Mizoram went out and said there should be a greater Mizoram.
I think he said this in the United States of America.
Yes, and because he wanted to incorporate also the fragile and fringe communities of Bangladesh. You know, they're also people who are being pushed around by the majority. So these areas and these fringe communities of Bangladesh, Myanmar, and India are in a fragile state, and we have to understand this fragility and get them together.
Professor Prasanjit, I think a brilliant point made by General Chauhan on this. Do you think that there has been an element of mismanagement of the issues related with the tribes of Northeast?
I will most humbly say that, cookies had been belonging to the Chin community. Now, the current cookies in 21st century has no umbilical connection with the Chin community of Myanmar. And this is a question of understanding ethnicity. I have full respect to General Chauhan about his knowledge of security. But as far as ethnicity is concerned, ethnicity and the insurgency, ethnic insurgency, and the conglomeration of larger ethnic insurgency may not happen in the same way. It doesn't go always in the keen line. And there are many examples in the whole of South and Southeast Asia. Anyway, I'm not getting into that larger debate. But the point here is that what Karthik, you are asking, it's a question of managing the ethnic diversity in Manipur. To what extent the present government will be able to handle it? The pending issues, the pent-up discontent, the kind of disgruntlement that is there on the ground, victimization, polarization, all these issues need to be addressed. And this requires a proper project of reconciliation. Merely bringing some people together from this community, that community, looks good at the symbolic level. But whether these communities can come together through these people and whether they accept their leadership is a major question at this point of time. So therefore, the idea of governance has to be a little more grounded. It cannot be just at the level of representation. Representation has to be connected with aspirations of the people, to the political demands and the political hope and
let me ask this question to you. You know, the Sioux agreements cannot be permanent in nature. For example, it's a hypothetical question. You know, it's like a frozen agreement whereby they can keep their weapons. You know, how long can this sort of a relationship continue, Professor?
No, but Sioux agreement has helped the peace. While on the other side, there are other insurgents in the valley who are operative even at this point of time. Sioux agreement at least refrained some insurgents from operating, and the major insurgents are not operating. Now the question of ethnic strife once again is an internal domestic matter. Insurgency is a larger matter. Insurgency and ethnic strife are not to be put together necessarily, although there is a linkage between the two. I don't disagree on that. But here it is an ethnic strife, particular kind of ethnic stereotyping, the question of sharing of power, the resources, and also protecting one's own land, one's own rights.
Are you saying there is lack of equity in terms of sharing of resources?
Absolutely, and equity has to be understood from the point of view of indigenous communities' rights and claim of rights on their own hills, on their own rivers, and on their own population and their own cultivation and fields.
Okay, Mr. Sharma, do you agree there's lack of equity? Mr. Sharma, do you think there's a lack of equity?
I do not agree at all. Firstly, the panelists has assumed that the cookies living in Manipur are completely assumed that they are Indians. We are talking about a non-Indian cookies who are creating problems. And all the panelists know that Lamjathang, a Thadao MLA, he himself has told many times that the problems are created by the people coming from Myanmar, not by the people living in Manipur. So the ethnicity problem is created superficially to activate their political agenda in India. And to be very frank and honest, to break India, I must put it. So the Lamjathang Thadao, who is more knowledgeable than all of us, Kartikeya, you have interviewed him, you know him. So he himself said, being a Thadao, the problems are created by the illegal immigrants coming from Myanmar. And also, I would say that the suspension operation has been for many years. It came officially from 2005 and 2008 agreement on paper. But for how many years we'll go out of the way, going against the democratic articles or going against the Constitution of India? How long you will give them protection of impunity against law? Why you, Mr. Prasan, Professor Prasan has mentioned about the Meitei insurgencies. For your kind information, please see the annual report of MHA. They are banned under UAPA 1967, whereas none of the Sioux groups, they are banned. And the type of weapon they have is, they all are military graded, which you cannot have even with a license. The government has been hopping high and has been undergoing peace talks with them for so many years. It's high time. There should not be talks with the illegal arm holders. They should be punished with the available law and acts of India. Without disarming them, you cannot talk with them.
Okay.
And as far as about the, let me complete, as far as about the representation of the Kuki communities, today I heard from the local media, all the Kuki MLAs came in Imphal for taking part in the swearing or taking ceremony. It shows that they are willing and they have shown faith to the system of the government of India or system of democracy in India. So the Meitei people living in Valley, they also do not have any problem. People living and they are representative. We must talk. Talk can be only with the unarmed elected parties. The talk cannot be with the government and armed holders. It is absolutely illegal, unethical. And this government, I hope they do a better job for the sentiments and knowing the undercurrents of the people.
Okay. Dr. Mishra, do you think it's possible to demilitarize this area? Is it possible or is it just like a fable?
Not that. We have got every hope that demilitarization can take place. If we really want to do it, I just agree with the general, our ex-director general Assam Rifles. We can do it, but
we can't do it.
We can
do it, but we can't do it.
It will take some time because you see, it requires a unified command. And I will tell you one point. You see, we have seen the deployment of forces in Pakistan border. We have seen the deployment of the forces in Bangladesh border. And we have seen the deployment of the forces in Myanmar border. That is a different, because you see, to guard the border, you can't have company bases. I do not agree with that at all. You should have at least BOP level deployment, border outpost level deployment, so that every inch of the border, like in Bangladesh border and Pakistan border, we are guarding, the PSF is guarding. So the border guarding force has to be deployed in Myanmar border. And I will tell you this differences between Kukis and Meiteis, of course, it will take time, but we have to try. And the interference is not only from USA, it is also from China, as the general was telling. It is also coming from Mizoram. That is the
But that's an elected state, sir.
Bangladesh effect. It is coming through Mizoram. I am telling you how the weapons are now coming. The weapons are coming through Mizoram, Bangladesh, Mizoram border, through Tidim Road. To this Kuki, the rebels who are coming, who have come from Myanmar, that is coming through Mizoram border. So we have to be very cautious of this Bangladesh border, Mizoram Bangladesh border also, because they interfere in Churachandpur area of our
okay, before
Manipur.
I close in this discussion, how much support will this Chief Minister will get from the Home Ministry now? Will he enjoy that same carte blanche which the Biren Singh enjoyed? It's a political question,
was
straight.
a completely different dispensation altogether, but this time, the fact that Amit Shah, Home Minister Amit Shah decided to sit with the meeting with where the leader was elected, where Khemchand was elected, he was sitting there was nothing more than a symbol that the Home Ministry completely backs him. And I think, you know, the Home Ministry has no other option but to back him completely if they want to make sure that the entire process remains on track. It's not like the Government of India or the Home Ministry has too many options on the ground.
They don't have any options?
They don't have much options. I mean, if they don't back Mr. Khemchand right now, then I think, you know, then it'll be too little too late for the government to step in and, you know, overhaul the situation.
You think they are in strong position politically for elections, Brijesh?
I think, you know, a lot depends on next 2-3 months, about the kind of strong actions they take, about the kind of messaging they are able to send, about the kind of whether they are able to, you know, get all those people who are living in those, the IDPs, you know, get them back into their home and, you know, reach out at a more concrete level, not merely symbolic.
Okay, thank you all of you. So thank you all of you for joining me. Thank you, Jai Hind. Thank you, Brijesh. I think the proof of the pudding is in eating it, and I think the governance is about being 24/7. The new gentleman has got a chance. This was our special coverage on Manipur, but the fact is that not only one chief minister, the state gets 2 deputy chief minister. It's a multi-ethnic cabinet, and we at the News 9 wish them all the best.
यार सोच रहा हूँ पॉलिसी बाजार से टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस ले लेता हूँ ताकि मेरे बाद फैमिली को पैसों की कमी ना। तू भी ले ले।
यार अभी तो यंग है यार, बाद में देखते हैं। आजा।
पॉलिसी बाजार पर 0 GST के साथ अब 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 400 रुपए महीने से शुरू।